there's a weapon that flies at 15,000 miles an hour, about Mach 20. A rifle bullet leaves the barrel around 2,000 miles an hour. This thing does 15,000, Los Angeles to New York, in about 10 minutes. And the country that flew the first hypersonic aircraft 60 years ago, it just fielded its first hypersonic weapon years late, and exactly one battery of 8. So who really owns the hypersonic age? Why is the fastest weapon ever built not the most dangerous one on this list? And what weapon may already be shoving America's aircraft carriers farther out to sea without firing a single shot? This is future war tech. 3 different weapons get called hypersonic, and the difference decides who lives. A glide vehicle, boosted toward space, then it surfs back down, no engine, weaving the whole way. A cruise missile, an air-breathing scramjet burning low and flat, like a bullet that won't slow down. And a third, sneakier one, old ballistic missiles that just happen to break Mach 5. At number 4, that label starts a fight. One rule for this countdown: the score you'll hear is a scorecard, 6 categories, 5 points each, with a reason for every number. But the ranking answers a tougher question. How much does each one actually change where and how a war gets fought? Because the fastest weapon and the most dangerous one are almost never the same. Number 5. Dark Eagle, United States. In 2018, the Pentagon got a wake-up call. Russia and China had fielded a weapon America couldn't match and couldn't shoot down. The scramble to catch up has a name: Dark Eagle, named for the hunter that kills with speed and surprise, and for what the Army swears it'll do to the enemy. Their official word for it: disintegrate their defenses. What do we actually know? 3 numbers. Better than Mach 5, call it 3,800 miles an hour, faster at release. A reach past 1,700 miles, and a price tag around $41 million. A shot. The Army keeps its exact size and weight classified, but we know it's big. The Navy's version is built to drop into a submarine's launch tube, and it's built to deploy forward onto islands like Japan and the Philippines, exactly where the Army's new task forces now train. From one island in the Philippines, that range swallows the entire South China Sea. Hainan, the artificial island bases, the coast around Guangzhou, with no American pilot ever leaving the ground. It's a glide vehicle, so let's settle once how these things fly. The booster hauls the dart to the top of the atmosphere, burns out, drops away. Now it's falling, but not straight down like an old warhead. It flattens out and glides through the thin upper air, 25 to 60 miles up. How does it steer with no engine? Its body is shaped to ride the air like a stubby wing. That lift lets it bank and turn. Now kill the myth, because everyone gets it wrong. People picture it dodging interceptors like a video game. It doesn't. What it really does is fly a crooked path your defenses can't plot ahead of time, and its big turns come early and high. And here's its particular problem for a defender, the one thing to remember about Dark Eagle. America's missile defenses come in 2 layers: interceptors that kill warheads up in space, and short-range ones that catch them near the ground. The glide vehicle flies in the seam between them, too low for the space layer, too fast and too high for the ground layer. It doesn't beat the shield. It flies through the crack in it, and it barely needs explosives. A metal slug arriving at Mach 5 hits with enough raw force to punch through a hardened command bunker or blow a runway apart on contact. The job? Kill the radars, the launchers, the command posts of an air defense wall in the first 5 minutes of a war. That's what it buys America, the key to a locked door. A way to blow a hole in Chinese or Russian defenses so the jets, ships, and bombers can pour through behind it. So how many are there? And has it ever fought? 1 battery, 8 missiles. Switched on in early 2026, about 2 years late. Shots fired in anger, 0. Though in spring 2026, Central Command asked for it to be moved toward a possible strike on Iran, which would be the first time America ever pulled the trigger on one. And it's only getting started. The same round is heading to sea, on stealth destroyers, then inside attack submarines. And the Army wants one of these batteries with every Pacific task force it has. But for years it barely worked. Test after test scrubbed or blew the schedule. Its own evaluators admitted there wasn't enough data to say it works in a real fight. 8 missiles, never fired. The best America's got on the field, and the least proven thing on this list, the scorecard. "21 out of 30. It lands 5th, not because it's weak, the engineering is superb, but because, alone on this list, it hasn't yet made a single enemy change what they do. Everything above it already has, starting with the one that's actually drawn blood. Number 4. Kinzhal, Russia. March 1st, 2018. Vladimir Putin stands before the Russian parliament and rolls a video that goes around the world. A missile, he says, that no air defense on the planet can stop. He gives it a name out of legend, Kinzhal, the dagger. Even an American president took it seriously. Asked about it, Joe Biden called it almost impossible to stop. So which is it, the unstoppable superweapon Moscow promised, or something a lot older wearing a scary new name? The truth's humbler than the hype. It's Russia's Iskander, a battlefield missile that's been around for years, rebuilt to hang under a MiG-31 fighter and dropped from the thin air about 9 miles up. 26 feet long, 3 feet across, about 9,500 pounds, a loaded pickup truck, a 1,000-pound warhead, conventional or nuclear. Then gravity and a rocket motor sling it down toward Mach 10, close to 7,600 miles an hour. So, a revolutionary new machine or an old ballistic missile thrown very, very fast? This is that third category, and to this day, serious people argue whether it even counts as hypersonic. From a single fighter loitering over Belarus, that reach covers every city in Ukraine, Kyiv, Lviv, Odessa, and laps over the border into NATO itself. And at Mach 10, the impact alone lands like several tons of TNT before the warhead even fires. Russia says it used one to gut a deep, hardened underground weapons bunker in Delyatyn, western Ukraine, the kind of buried target that laughs off an ordinary missile. Here's its trick on a defender. Speed is only half of it. Ground radars and Patriot batteries watch a slice of sky, a sector, not a full circle. A weapon dropped from a jet can come from any heading at all, slamming in from a direction nobody was guarding. That's what makes the dagger dangerous. Not just how fast, but from where, how many, and has it fought? This is the one that has. March 2022, the first air-launched hypersonic weapon ever used in combat. Russia fired it into Ukraine again and again. One night, 6 at once. And then the headline that cracked the legend. May 2023. News outlets report that an American Patriot battery over Kyiv shot one down, then knocked down more. Russia disputed the count. Didn't matter. Remember the primer? In its last slowing seconds, even a hypersonic weapon turns catchable. The dagger bled. So Russia stopped sending it alone. It hides it inside a swarm. Drones go first to eat the defender's attention. Subsonic missiles go next to burn their interceptors. Then the dagger walks in through a door that's already jammed open. For Russia, that's the whole game. A way through NATO-grade air defense and a loud message: we can reach whatever you protect. Slung under one MiG-31, it reaches about 1,200 miles. Bolted under a Tu-22 bomber instead, launched higher, thrown farther, and the reach stretches toward 1,900 on a plane that hauls more than one. And the part Moscow leaves out of the speech, America built this exact idea. The air-launched Skybolt back in the 1960s, then scrapped it as a dead end. Russia's weapon of the future is something we threw in the trash 60 years ago. The scorecard. "23 out of 30, the highest raw score so far, and it still lands at 4, because the dagger hits a spot on a map. The next one doesn't aim at a map, it aims at the freedom of an entire fleet." Number 3. Zircon, Russia. Every navy on Earth is built on one quiet bet, that you'll spot the missile in time to do something about it. Russia built the Zircon to break that bet. Putin unveiled it himself with numbers that made analysts blink, and the fleet pinned a nickname on it that says everything. The Carrier Killer. 30 feet long, 2 feet across, somewhere between 6,600 and 9,000 pounds. Up to 900 pounds of warhead, conventional or nuclear. Top speed up to Mach 9, nearly 7,000 miles an hour, out to roughly 600 miles. This is the second kind, the scramjet cruise missile that keeps its engine lit the whole way. No moving fans, just raw incoming air mixed with fuel and exploded out the back. And unlike the glider, it doesn't climb high. It runs low, hugging the sea. And that's its trick. The thing to remember about the Zircon: a ship's radar can only see to the horizon. The curve of the planet hides everything below it. A missile skimming the waves stays under that line until it's just seconds out. Most missiles give a captain minutes. This one uses the Earth itself to stay invisible until it's nearly too late. And at Mach 9, it barely needs the warhead. One hit to a carrier's flight deck or its command island doesn't have to sink the ship. Wreck the deck or the wiring, and a 100,000-ton carrier with 5,000 sailors aboard is out of the war. From a single frigate in the Black Sea, that range covers Ukraine's whole coastline and reaches NATO's shore in Romania. How many, and has it fought? Both. Into service January 2023, and leaked paperwork suggests Russia orders about 80 a year. It's been fired at Ukraine since 2024. Debris over Kyiv proved it. A few got shot down too. And the scariest part is where it hides. The Zircon drops into the same launch cells Russia already uses for its everyday missiles. Any ship or sub with those tubes can carry it, hidden among dozens of others, invisible until the second it fires. For Russia, that's sea denial, a cheap way to hold America's far bigger surface fleet at arm's length from its coast. And if a Zircon off the horizon already leaves a captain with seconds, Russia's fired it from a submarine, from periscope depth. Now the shooter isn't a ship you can track. It's a patch of black water that opens, fires, and disappears. A land-based coastal version is coming too. The asterisk Russia never reads aloud. The analysts who run the math don't buy all of it. A missile that small shouldn't fly that fast and that far at once. The stockpile's thin, the warhead's modest, and it's been knocked down in combat. A real achievement, not a miracle. The scorecard. "22 out of 30. It still outranks the dagger for one reason. The mere threat of a Zircon can push a whole carrier group to back off. That's not hitting a target, that's moving a fleet. And the next weapon doesn't move fleets. It rewrites the rules of nuclear war." Number 2. Avangard, Russia. For 60 years, America sank hundreds of billions of dollars into one promise, a shield that could catch an incoming nuclear warhead. In 2018, Russia rolled out a weapon built for one job, to make that shield worthless. Putin called it Avangard, the Vanguard, and tied it straight to the day America walked out of a missile defense treaty. This time, Western analysts didn't laugh. They called it real. It's not a missile, it's a glider. Its exact size is a state secret, but it weighs around 4,400 pounds, the weight of a mid-size SUV, and it rides an intercontinental missile clear across an ocean. Russia claims it tops Mach 20, 15,000 miles an hour, with some figures pushing Mach 27. It's a glide vehicle, same family as No. 5, just dialed to the extreme. Intercontinental range, surfing the upper atmosphere at 15,000 miles an hour. And the danger is total. The warhead is nuclear, measured in megatons. A single one can carry more than 100 times the bomb that flattened Hiroshima, enough to erase a city. And strip the nuke off entirely, and the bare glider still slams in with the force of about 20 tons of TNT. Here's its particular nightmare, the thing to remember about Avangard. America's whole missile shield runs on one assumption. A warhead falls on a predictable arc, so you calculate where it'll be and meet it in space. Avangard refuses to fly that arc. It dives low and weaves. It doesn't outrun the shield. It breaks the math the shield is built on. And at that speed, it wraps itself in glowing plasma. You'll hear that the plasma hides it. The sharper truth, it scrambles radio signals and muddies tracking, but it can throw off signatures of its own, not invisibility. One more layer of doubt for the guy trying to shoot it down. How many? And has it fought? Almost none. A single regiment, a handful of missiles riding old Cold War boosters. Combat record? 0. And pray it stays that way. A doomsday weapon, tested, never used. For Russia, this is the floor under everything. Proof that no American shield, today or tomorrow, can stop its payback. Not a battlefield weapon, an insurance policy written in megatons. Today it rides an aging rocket, one glider apiece. But look at what's coming. The new Sarmat, NATO's Satan II, 116 feet tall, taller than an 11-story building, over 200 tons, could carry several Avangards at once, Russia hints. And it can come the long way around, over the South Pole, because America's big early warning radars in Alaska, Greenland, and Britain all stare north, toward the pole Russia's missiles would normally cross. Come up from the south and you walk in behind the alarm. One number to sit with. If that speed's even close to true, friction roasts the skin of this thing past 3,000 degrees, hotter than molten rock, every single flight. A weapon that has to survive its own speed. The scorecard. "22 out of 30, dead even with the Zircon. But look at the shape, full marks for raw power, almost nothing for flexibility. It sits at number 2 because it reshapes the nuclear balance. But number 1 reshapes a balance that's being tested right now, in peacetime, every single day. Number 1. China's Hypersonic Strike System. In 2019, China rolled something brand new down the streets of Beijing, a weapon the Pentagon had been losing sleep over for years, the DF-17. The first of its kind anywhere on Earth to actually go into service. American admirals don't call it a missile. They call it the reason the map of the Pacific is being redrawn. Because number 1 isn't a single weapon at all, it's a system. Start with the DF-17 itself, a launcher on wheels carrying a maneuvering glide vehicle. China won't release the weight. The estimate runs about 36 feet long, a school bus, flying Mach 5 to Mach 10, reaching 11 to 1,500 miles, conventional or nuclear. The inner ring, the DF-17, already covers Taiwan, Okinawa, and the American airbase at Kadena. The outer ring, its bigger brother, the DF-27, reaches all the way to Guam and stretches toward Hawaii. Every forward base America would fight from sits inside a ring. Same glide trick as the others, boosted high, cut loose, then a long, weaving, impossible-to-predict descent. But the real danger isn't the missile, it's the problem it cracks. An aircraft carrier isn't a dot on a map. It can move more than 600 miles in a single day. Fire it where it was this morning, and you splash empty ocean. So China's hard part was never reaching a carrier. It was finding one, spotting it, tracking it minute by minute, and walking a Mach 10 weapon onto the right patch of moving sea. And that's why this one tops the list. Its trick isn't speed. It's two things no shield can answer. First, you can't shoot what you can't find, and 100 launchers, hidden and road mobile, are nearly impossible to hunt down. Second, even if your defenses can catch one missile, they can't catch 100 at once. The DF-27 stretches the reach. The YJ-21 adds versions fired from China's newest destroyers and bombers. Satellites, over-the-horizon radar, and high-speed drones like the WZ-8 try to keep a moving carrier pinned the whole time. The missile is only the trigger. The weapon is the web. How many, and has it fought? More than 100 DF-17 launchers by the Pentagon's count, the biggest fielded hypersonic force on the planet. Combat record? None yet. No wars come. But in 2026, Chinese state media put out footage of the DF-17 firing in waves across a desert range and framed it with zero subtlety. A carrier killer with a message addressed by name to Washington. Now the honest part, because you've earned it. Nobody can prove that whole chain works flawlessly with an enemy jamming every link. It almost certainly wouldn't. The real carrier hunting job is still half finished. But it doesn't have to be finished to win. It only has to make an American commander believe enough missiles might get through. The day he believes it, the carriers already stand farther offshore, which means the jets fly farther, carry less, and put fewer planes over the fight. For China, that's the whole purpose. Keep America's carriers and its nerve to defend Taiwan far from the battle. This weapon doesn't have to sink a ship to win. It just has to move it. And it's still growing. China's testing weapons that fly a fraction of an orbit around the planet to come at America from a direction nobody's watching, at a scale neither Russia nor the US has matched in the open. The scorecard. (26 out of 30). It takes the crown not because every piece is proven. It isn't. It takes the crown because no other weapon on this list has already forced the other side's navy to rethink where it can safely sail, in peacetime, without firing a shot. That's not the fastest weapon in the world. It's the one quietly redrawing the map of a war in the Pacific. So step back and read the board. Russia fields the fastest and the most feared. China fields the most and the smartest. And the United States, the nation that flew the very first hypersonic aircraft, fielded its first hypersonic weapon dead last. Now hear this part clearly because it matters. That does not make America the weaker military. It still owns the edge in submarines, stealth bombers, satellites, and precision strike. It means that in this one narrow lane, fielded hypersonic weapons, it bet on other strengths while its rivals shoved theirs out the door and into service. A top Pentagon technology chief said the quiet part out loud to Congress. The word he reached for was match. Not beat, match. His exact line, "America needs these weapons to allow us to match what our adversaries are doing." For the country that invented this, that one word is the whole story. So here's the real question, the one this whole list was built on. Would you rank these by raw performance or by the system built around them? Drop your number one in the comments, because 5 years from now, this board looks different again. The race for the fastest weapons on Earth isn't slowing down, it's speeding up. This is Future War Tech, where we decode the weapons that will decide the wars of tomorrow. We'll see you in the next episode.